And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey folks, today we're taking a look at a game from Stefan Feld, Jorvik. This is from Stronghold Games. Now, Stronghold Games had a huge year in 2016 at the Essen Fair especially. Everybody was raging about Terraforming Mars and about Great Western Trail, and there was Fabled Fruit. And so this game, Jorvik, did not get as much buzz as the others. Not because it wasn't good or anything, it's just because the other ones were just such fantastic games. This was actually a reworking of another game that Stefan Feld had done. So I like Feld's games for the most part. Well, okay, I'm all over the map with Feld's games, I should say. But this was promised to be a lighter style game. I was intrigued by that. Let's take a look. There are two games that you can play in this. You have the Jarl game mode, and then you just have your regular game mode. If you're playing with the regular game, you actually take the game board and you fold it up like this, and you only use the bottom half. But since you use the bottom half in the full game, I'm just going to explain how it works. Each round of the game, you're going to be putting cards out on these spots here to wherever the number of players are. So let's say we're playing with a 4-player game, I would go out there. I would also put cards up here out to the number of players. Again, 4-player goes up to here. Now each of these cards is going to do different things, and the whole point of this game is to acquire these cards. So players are going to take turns starting from the first player, who will have this token here, and you are either going to put a person in the top space of a row. So then let's say red could go behind them, and then blue might go here, and then yellow might go here, and white goes here. Even I'm kind of going out of order here. And then red puts one up on the card. And when you put them up on a card here, you'll slide it over to the last space in that row. And then let's say, white might go here, and then yellow goes here, and then red takes another card, and then blue takes a card, and then yellow goes here, white goes here, red goes here. I know I'm not doing these exactly in order, and then white takes that card. So the way each of these work then is you're going to be selling these cards off. Players are going to start the game with 5 coins. Between turns, you're going to get 2. Unless you didn't get any cards the previous turn, then you'll get 3. So you don't have a huge amount of coins. So white can buy this card for 1 coin because there's one person in line there. Yellow can buy this card for 1. Now the yellow has a chance to buy this card, but it's going to cost yellow 3. Well, that's kind of expensive. So yellow decides not to. So then yellow takes its piece off. Now red can buy it for 2. And if red decides not to, then yellow can buy it for 1. Same thing here. White can buy it for 2. If they decide not to, red gets it for 1. Blue can buy it for 3. If they decide not to, white gets it for 2. And then yellow gets it for 1 if blue and white both pass on it. The cards up here are gotten. You pay the number of cards in the row. So red would have to pay 4 to take this card. If they decide not to, then red can pay 3 to get that card. Then blue 2 for that one, then white 1 for that card. Now each card is going to do different things. And I'm not going to go over every card, but some cards are going to give you strength. You're going to need this strength because sometimes in the card, enemies are going to show up, and whoever has the highest strength is going to get 3 points, and whoever has the lowest strength is going to lose 3 points, or whatever the card says. Some cards are going to allow you to manipulate cubes. Now this deck here is split into winter, spring, summer, and fall cards, and in the spring, ships are going to show up, and if you win a ship, out of that ship is going to have cubes on it that are going to be pulled randomly from a bag. So maybe I'll pull from here and get 3 cubes, and these cubes are used for different things. And when you get cubes, you can use them. Like this guy can change a brown cube into a coin. If you have her, you're able to change the gray cube into 2 victory points. This card is just worth straight victory points based on how many of this particular card you have at the end of the game. If you have 1 of them, it's worth 2. If you have 4 of them, it's worth 14. This guy can change on cubes into coins. Some cards are just worth straight victory points when you get them. Some cards will give you a special ability. For example, this gives you twice over the course of the game 2 workers that you'll be able to use and throw on the board. 2 extra workers. They're brown workers that are here just for this particular card. Some of them, you're going to be placing cubes on these spots, delivering them. If I get an orange, a black, a white, and a brown cube, this is going to be worth 11 points at the end of the game. Some will give you special abilities that you can do mean things to other players, maybe switch one of your people with one of their people on the board. Here's another guy for defense for 2. And so there's all different things, but they're mostly going to be ships that players are going to have that bring in the goods, and then maybe this will give you points for different cards that give you points at the end of the game, ways to use those cubes to get more victory points. That's essentially how the game works. At the end of the game, you're going to have one final fight. Players will be scoring points as the game goes by, and whoever has the most points at the end of the game is the winner. Again, if you're not playing in the Yarrow mode, you're just going to be playing the normal game. You'll only be using the bottom half of the board. You're just basically cutting out. And also, there's a lot less cards that are used in that version. The first thing to notice about Jorvik is the fact that it is mean as all get out. I mean, Stefan Feld has made a lot of Euro games. Some of them I've not liked. Some of them I've really enjoyed. But they're usually about getting points and being strategic. Jorvik is just mean. Because you are literally like it's kind of a weird auction. Essentially, I'm going to say I'm going to buy something. And you come behind me and say, not only am I making it more expensive for you, but if you don't buy it, then I get it. And then you come behind me and say, fine, I'm going to make it even more expensive for me, but then it's more expensive for you, and then I'll probably get it. And you're looking at all the coins everyone has. Because, again, you don't have a ton of coins. So paying more than 3 for anything is outrageous. Paying 3 for something you think twice about. And you're not going to get a lot of cards every turn. So you have to figure out what cards to get. And that whole bidding aspect of getting something, and it's almost like a game of chicken. The top half, by the way, there's no reason not to play the full game. Playing the bottom half is like playing half a game. I mean, you literally are playing half the game. And in this case, it's not that complex of a game, and it gives you 2 spots to put things. And I like the Jarl section because it's like a big game of chicken. And you're sitting there going, all right, I want a card, but if I go first and I'll get the card I want, but probably a bunch of other people come behind me, then it's going to be too expensive. And then once you have everything done and all the stuff's placed, you have to sit there and go, okay, if I buy this for 3, I won't be able to afford anything else I put my people at. But if I don't buy it, then, Sally's going to get this one, and that's problematic. And it's really intriguing on how that works, because you're sitting there, and as the workers place, there's a lot of, evil glares and threats probably, because this game is very interactive. Now, interestingly enough, the scoring points is your typical Feldian point salad. You get points for guards, and you get points for this. But it's interesting because you want to get these different goods, but you don't know what ships are bringing in what goods as time goes by. I mean, the very first fourth of the game, there are no ships. So you're getting stuff kind of speculating on the different things. And some of the goods, there's more of than others. And I think it would have been nice to have maybe a card that has that. Speaking of the goods, problematically, with some of the components of the game, I'm not a huge fan of this artwork. It's okay. It's not terrible. It's fine, I guess, but it's just not that. Ooh, and the cards themselves look a little eh. But the cubes are problematic because on each card, they show you the actual good. They don't show you, for example, that this is an orange cube. Now, that's not a huge deal, but not everything matches up perfectly like that. And there were times going, that's a pink cube, right? I just don't understand why they didn't put pictures of the cubes on there. And or just put these cool items. I guess you can't pull them from a bag then. I don't know. But either way, that was a small problem with the game. Other than that, the game runs very smoothly. You're doing the same thing over and over and over again, but the game length is just long enough where that doesn't become burdensome. But it's definitely, it scales well because you have different numbers, although 2 is not as, 2's okay. But 3, 4, 5, there's that just back and forth, and I'm going to go here, I'm going to get behind you, and it's really intriguing because sometimes everyone else backs out of a bid and you suddenly have a chance to get it. But if you buy it, you won't be able to afford your other one you were going to get, and then you have to make that choice. Sometimes you win nothing, but then, hey, you got more coins for next round. Sometimes you can trade in cubes for coins. Suddenly you feel flush with cash having 6 coins. It's basically an auction game. But it's an auction game that's vicious and interesting, not so mean. I mean, you're going to get something eventually. If you don't win anything, you'll eventually have enough money to win stuff. But you have to win the right stuff and use the special ability cards when you get them at the right time and get a defense or, so that you don't get beat up by, I played one game where I was like, I don't care about defense. I'm just going to get other things. And that's fine, but I kept losing points and points and points as the game went by from the from the raids, and that hurt me overall. So then I'm like, okay, maybe I should work really hard in defense, but then I have to give up other things. It's a good, solid game. Yes, it got lost in the shuffle this year amongst many other games, but it shouldn't be. Definitely check it out. Jorvik. Dice Tower Judgment approved.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.
Shut the door.